Mayhem Berserker sacrifices max health for a noticeable increase to outgoing damage, movement speed, attack speed, damage reduction, and a constantly full fury meter that allows them to stay in burst mode as long as they want. Hey everyone, I'm Barkley, and I want to talk about skill builds, rotations, stat priorities, engravings, gems, and card set choices for the Berserker. So if you're looking for that, you're in the right place. Let's get started. For the skill builds, these will be broken up into two categories, one for raids and one for chaos dungeons. For the raid build abilities, starting from the top, your first ability is Finish Strike. You'll be picking up Tenacity for push immunity. I chose not to pick Enhanced Strike because it makes the animation longer, and long animations are already one of the weaknesses of Berserker. Weak point detection and Lights Out. For the skill rune, I use Gale Wind here, and Overwhelm would be my second pick. Your second ability is Charge. You'll only pick up Excellent Mobility here, and for the skill rune, I use Protection. Your other options are Quick Recharge and Rage. While Protection is less impactful, it is more consistent. For your third ability, you'll have Tempest Slash. You'll be picking up Quick Prep, Weak Point Detection, and Driving Hit. The skill rune choices are Gale Wind and Overwhelm. And for the fourth ability, you'll be picking up Hellblade. You'll pick up Leap for the 8-meter jump at the start of the animation, Deadly Blow for damage because you're always below 50% health, and Earth Flip for more damage. The main skill rune choices are Gale Wind and Overwhelm. And for your fifth ability, you have Chainsword. This ability is your counter, but also becomes part of your rotation. You'll pick up Vital Point Hit for a 15% increase to crit chance for 3 seconds on hit, and Swift Attack Prep for a 20% attack speed buff for 3 seconds, and Quick Prep for cooldown reduction. You'll put points into this until 55, then move those points into damage abilities. And for the skill rune, I use Quick Recharge. And for your sixth ability, you have Strike Wave. You'll pick up Wave and Limit Break to buff the damage from charging this ability. Earth Flip turns the wave into a rock ground effect that can hit mobs up to 4 times. You'll mostly be landing the 4 hits on big targets. Standing a little bit back from the target can make this ability somewhat more consistent, but you might not always have time for that. Like with the other abilities, Gale Wind over Overwhelm. For your 7th ability, you have Red Dust, Quick Prep for the shorter cooldown, Vital Point Hit for the 20% crit chance for 6 seconds, and the third choice is where you decide if you want a bigger damage increase for yourself or a party-wide buff. If you pick Amplified Damage, it'll reduce the damage increase to 18%, but make it party-wide. Red Wave gives the ability a damage boost and a longer attack range that'll make it a little bit easier to use. And for the skill rune, I run Bleed. For the last ability, you have Sword Storm. For your first choice, you have 2 options, Quick Prep or Vital Hit Point. Quick Prep makes the cooldowns line up faster, and the kit already has a lot of crit, so it becomes a preference pick. Weak Point Detection, and Flamestorm for the damage boost while low HP. Keep in mind that any of the Gale Winds can be swapped out for Overwhelm if you're needing the extra stagger. The Chaos Dungeon AoE build doesn't change a lot, so instead of going over all the abilities, I'll go over the differences. You'll be dropping Hellblade for Whirlwind, because the damage from Hellblade is overkill in most cases. For the Whirlwind skill tree, you'll pick up Sustain Enhancement to get a longer duration, Cracked Blade and Vacuum Slash for bigger AoE and more damage. For the skill rune, I use Bleed here. For more damage on targets that I don't constantly hit, I'm usually using this ability to pass through enemies and damage them at the same time, while my other abilities are on cooldown. You'll drop Chainsword for Mountain Crash because of the shorter cooldown and AoE damage. In the skill tree, you'll pick up Quick Prep and Swift Attack Prep. For skill rune choices, you have Rage or Quick Recharge. Some of the skill tree choices and abilities have changed as well. Tempest Slash changes from Weak Point Detection to Enhanced Strike, and Driving Hit to Storm Slash. Strike Wave gets used to kill trash mobs by changing Wave to Quick Prep, Limit Break to Cerberus, and Earth Flip changes to Blaze Wave. For both builds, I use the Awakening Berserker's Fury. For skill runes, any place you put Overwhelm, just put Quick Recharge to get more abilities out. Now let's take a look at the rotation. The rotation for Berserker revolves around fitting as many abilities as you can into the buff windows from Red Dust, Chainsword, and Mountain Crash. My ideal Red Dust window would go like this: Red Dust, Finish Strike, Strike Wave, into Sword Storm. The main goal is that you want to land at least 3 abilities during the duration of the Red Dust buff. The same logic applies to Chainsword and Mountain Crash. They're 2-second buffs instead of 6 seconds, so in most cases you'll only land 1 or 2 abilities in these windows. Chainsword and the Tempest Slash or Dark Rush are both good examples. I will delay abilities to wait for a damage buff, but I won't wait longer than 4 or 5 seconds. Berserker has the best auto attack damage out of any character I've played so far, so getting in a few auto attacks doesn't feel that bad for me. Now let's talk about your stats. For this build, you'll only need crit and swiftness. The ideal stat split will be a 70-30 crit swiftness, so you'll only have swiftness on your necklace. With the Argos crit set bonus, picking up more swiftness becomes more viable. Swapping out a ring or an earring to balance this out more is a play. If you aren't running Keen Blunt Weapon and have the Argos set, A 50-50 split could be ideal, but I plan on stacking crit. Next, we'll take a look at engravings. In most cases, things will look like this. Make sure you have your class engraving at level 1, then max Master's Tenacity. At this point, you'll max your class engraving. After this, the highest damage engravings will have negative effects with them, and should only be used if you can get them to level 3. Cursed Dog gives attack power while reducing healing received. This negative has the least impact on Berserker since you can still full heal with the green HP potions. Keen Blunt Weapon increases crit damage, but this doesn't become a good choice until you're at a base 50 to 60% crit chance, not counting buffs. Grudge gives a 20% increase to outgoing and incoming damage. You can swap the order of Keen Blunt Weapon and Grudge based off your crit as well. The last 3 choices are really interchangeable, but this is how I would go about it. At the current state of the game, we aren't getting DPS checks that you're needing to risk taking things like Grudge, but if you aren't getting hit, Grudge is the best choice. Right now, most people are aiming for 3 level 3 engravings and 1 level 1. And some of the viable options that you won't need a level 3 engraving for are Raid Captain, Heavy Armor, Spirit Absorption, and Ambush Master. Raid Captain is a good choice to put to level 3 if you don't want to use an engraving with the downside. Now moving into your gems, you'll want damage and cooldown reduction gems for your 5 main damaging abilities, and for the last pick you'll want Red Dust cooldown reduction. The other 2 abilities don't do that much damage, and their cooldowns are really short. And for your card sets, you'll go through 3 stages. In the early game, the best choices are We'll Meet Again and Nature's Elements. It's a defensive setup that'll provide you with damage reduction that you'll have 100% uptime on because your max health is 25%. You'll swap to the Lost Wind Cliff set whenever you get it to 12 Awakening for the 7% crit, and you'll run this set until you get the holy damage bonuses from the Light of Salvation set, which is the end-game setup for all DPS builds. And with that, you're good to go. Tell me how I did in the comments, or if you have any questions, and if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be going live on Twitch 3 times a week, starting on the 18th. The link will be in the description. Follow me there. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.